Hello there. Welcome to my show, COVID-19 Update by Heerak for June 8, 2020. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize it's not yet. Cause I've been blasting and laughing so long that even my mama thinks that my mind is gone. But I ain't never crossed a man that gets the surgery. He be treated like a punk, you know that's unheard of. You better watch how you're talking and where you're walking, or you and your homies might be lying to chalk. I really hate the trip, but I gotta low. As they cook, I see myself in the pistol smoke. I'm the kind of nigga little homies wanna be like on my knees in the night, saying prayers in the street light. As we have seen in the past week and more, you may feel like you're living in gangster's paradise. Police cars burning down, stores being looted across the United States of America. Maybe some of you are still shell shocked. Situation they got me facing. I can't even know. I was raised by the shit, so I gotta be there with the hood team. Too much television watching got me chasing dreams. I'm an educated fool with money on my mind. Got my tin in my hand and the gleam in my eye. I'm a low out, gangsta, sex tripping banger. And my homies is down, so don't arouse my anger. Fool, death ain't nothing but a heartbeat away. I'm living life to do or die. What can I say? I'm 23 now, but will I live and see 24? The way you think it's going, I don't know. A lot of people die young in the inner city. A lot of gang violence in Chicago. Every weekend, people die of gunshot wound. Power and the money, money and the power. Minute after minute, hour after hour, everybody's running. What happened to me? Look what's going on in the kitchen. But I don't know what's tricky. They say I got to learn, but nobody's here to teach me. If they can't understand it, how can they fix me? I guess they can't. I guess they won't. I guess they front. That's why I know my life is out of luck, fool. Yeah, my dad's church had a lot of people get shot to death on the way to work, on the way from work, just like closing the store down and bam, they're shot to death. Fifth Street in Philadelphia. South Central Los Angeles. Thanks to Intifada, they're going to bring the inner city to you. Antifa. Maybe COVID-19 is the last thing you have to worry about. With Antifa at the helm, it could get much, much worse. I grew up in the city, and I grew up in a 100% African American neighborhood, Logan, Philadelphia. And one of the things you realize is some of your friends do not make it; they die. Yeah, they die in middle school, some in elementary school, some in high school. People in your neighborhood. When I was teaching, fifth graders who are now, in middle school, in Anacostia at Savoy Elementary School, one of my students told me, whenever she hears a gunshot wound, she goes straight and just jumps into the tub and, lies flat, at the bottom of the tub. Because, bathtub has, it's hard surfaces, so that she doesn't get shot by a stray bullet and die. And I said, well, how sad is that?
And I drive to my neighborhood in Arlington, and I'm like, wow, it's you know, I remember those days, like when I was living in Philly. You know, it's like a long time ago. But you know, um, did I tell you like my family got robbed 3 times while we were sleeping? Yes. When I was living in Logan, Pennsylvania, and my mom, my dad, you know, my brother, my I don't have a brother, my 2 sisters were sleeping, and you know, we lived in inner city, so like, you know, there were cockroaches and stuff everywhere in the neighborhood, and some in the house. You know, it's pretty rough. You know, I mean, I was like, yeah, it's rough neighborhoods. Like cockroaches are your friend. You know, but you know, we're sleeping. Like my dad, my mom, me, my sisters, we're all sleeping in our room, and then we wake up next morning and we go downstairs. Like no TV, nothing. It's like all taken. You know, so we try to like fortify stuff, you know, and then they break in again, you know. So we got robbed like 3 times, and my aunt lived like in, you know, a few blocks from us, and she got robbed like 3 times too, you know, when she was sleeping. Yeah, you know, sometimes you know you don't appreciate what you have because you don't know how other people live. The other half lives, you know. But anyway, yeah. It's very real, you know, even now in Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Los Angeles. Yeah, this is not uncommon, you know, I would say. Yeah. But, you know, today we're going to talk a little bit about that. But before we go on to the topic about police, defunding the police, I guess like a lot of the Democrats are into defunding the police, which is kind of interesting. Um, yeah, so we'll talk a little bit about that today. But before doing that, New York is marking 100th day anniversary of COVID-19 today, and they opened up New York City, and the subways open, and I guess something like 500,000 people are going to go to work tomorrow or something, or sometime this week. So you know, it'll be interesting to see what happens. My prediction is we're going to have a second peak of COVID-19 because you know we've been closed down for 100 days basically, but now since we're opening, um, you know, you gotta expect people to get infected. I was watching the news today, and there's like 12 people got infected at the New Jersey shore. So like just over the weekend. So these things happen, you know. Um, you know, some people say, you know, the heat may kill off COVID, but remember there's air conditioning in your home, you know, and so um, yeah, I mean, it's not like we live in a country where there's no air conditioning. Yeah, I mean, you know, make the logical deductions you want. But my prediction is still that 1 million Americans will die by August 2020 because as you see, New York is opening up and 100,000 people are going to return to work this week. And you don't think any of them will get COVID-19? What's your guess? I mean, my guess is that they will. I mean, obviously, you know, uh, time will tell. Virginia had a sharp spike in COVID-19 cases. Yesterday, we had like 13,000 cases. Today, it kind of went down. But, you know, let's see. You know, let's see what's going to happen because we're still early. You know, we've been closed down for like 100 days. And now we're opening up. And, you know, well, let's see what happens, you know. Yeah. So let's go to the next page. COVID-19 death is around at 500. So we have still a lot of people dying. It was a little bit lower than yesterday's, which was like around 700. But our average is still around 1,000. So I don't think this is a new reality. I think it's just, you know, a couple days or whatever. Yeah, I'm sure it will go up to over 1,000 again. Because we're opening up, right? I mean, CNN said 22 states have sharp rises in cases. 22 states right now out of 50. That's almost half the states of the United States are seeing a sharp rise of COVID-19 right now. So do the math. Yeah, of course we're going to get to like thousands dying per day. I mean, it's a virus, for God's sake. But at least President Trump is happy because, he says he's going to start going on a campaign trail in 2 weeks. President Trump is quite good at like talking to the crowd. People love him. So who knows? Maybe God will love Trump enough to like keep numbers down. I mean, Trump does far more with crowds than Biden. So if the numbers are low, President Trump will, get tremendous popularity, on his campaign trail. So let's see what happens. If God loves Trump enough, he may keep the numbers low so Trump can stomp on the campaign trail. But my prediction is COVID-19 will skyrocket, and we're going to have a situation where 10,000 people are dying per day in America sometime in the summer. And my prediction stays still the same, and we're going to have over 1 million Americans dead by August, sometime in August. So let's see. I'm hoping to be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong just because COVID-19 is a virus. And as a virus, it kills. That's what it does. So, yeah, I don't think I'm wrong. But anyhow, yesterday's death was at 110,503. Today's death is at 110,990. And confirmed cases yesterday was 1,940,468. And it went up like 20,000 to 30,000. So now it's at 1,960,642. As I said, we have 487 people died in the last 24 hours, but I'm predicting that it will go sharply up soon. And I'm still predicting that we're going to have 10,000 people die per day during the summer sometime. Because, once the second peak strikes New York City, you can't put the genie back in the box. It's going to keep spreading. So we went up to over 4,000 people dying in a day in April. So we know that that's possible. And yeah, I'm thinking that will happen in the summer. We're going to have more than 4,000 people die. But let's see, maybe I'll be wrong. I would be happy to be wrong, but I don't think I am. Let's go to the numbers in Latin America. Brazil is having increase in number of deaths. So Brazil is number one in terms of cases in South America. And they have 257,486 cases. 37,134 deaths. So their death rate is about 14% of the cases. And Peru is number two at 199,696 cases. And their death is at 5,571. So, it's been going up in Peru and now it's past 5,000. It's kind of like the situation in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Actually, state of Pennsylvania has over 5,000 people who are dead from COVID now. Massachusetts, Illinois, Michigan. So, we'll see, let's see what goes on, what will happen. Number three, Chile, it's climbing. Look at that. So the COVID-19 cases are 138,846. The death is at 2,264. For some reason, death rate is beginning to sharply rise in Latin America, which is not good because we have a lot of Latinos in America. And if death rate is increasing among the Latin Americans in Latin America, you can predict that death rate will start increasing among Latin Americans in United States. The problem is scientists do not know exactly what COVID-19 is and what it does and how it does it. So there are a lot of irregularities, and Brazil, it had, much less than 10,000 deaths before, and now in a couple of weeks it's gone up to 37,000. Something is happening, which is bad for America because we have a lot of Brazilians here, we have a lot of Peruvians here, we have a lot of people from Chile, Mexico, and Ecuador, especially in Virginia's 8th district. And we may start seeing a sharp spike in their COVID cases and deaths. We don't know. But one thing is clear, a lot of people who are dying in Brazil, Peru, and Chile are not in nursing homes. So it's a little bit different reality in those countries than in America. So that's also troubling as well. Yeah, Mexico has 120,102 cases. Their death rate is at 14,053. 12% of people who are getting it are dying. And today in the news, they said Cancun is opening up. Tourism in Mexico is open. So now Americans can go to Mexico, get COVID-19, come back and spread it as well. So there are many ways that COVID-19 is going to see a second spike in America. And I'm predicting the second spike will happen in the summer. That's why I'm predicting that 1 million Americans will die by August because there will be a second spike. It's the same coronavirus. It's not like, this is a 365 days a year virus. People are finding out. It's not like a flu. So let's see what happens. Number 5 is Ecuador. It's at 43,378 cases, and the death rate is at 3,642. So 8% of the people are dying. Now, I thought we'll talk about defund the police, especially because you may have a child named Amy, a child named Bobby, and you may be worried as a father or a mother that, what's going to happen if the police disappears? You look at Harry's eyes. He's just like shell-shocked. He's like, what do you mean if the police disappears? Actually, defunding the police, what does that mean, right? Now, Minneapolis, Minnesota, City Council members are saying, we have bulletproof numbers to override the veto of the Minneapolis mayor who doesn't want to defund the police or dismantle the police. Now, Minneapolis City Councilmen, members, men and women, want to not only defund the police in Minneapolis, they actually want to dismantle it, meaning like they want Minneapolis police to disappear, like State of Israel disappeared when Babylonians came in and destroyed it, or when Romans came in and destroyed it. Like, they want it to completely disappear. And Minneapolis City Council people are saying, we're going to create something in the place of Minneapolis that are like people friendly. I don't know if they're saying people friendly, criminal friendly, semantics, They actually want to destroy the police. They would get rid of all the police. That means, number 1, every police officer in Minneapolis will be fired. They will no longer have a job. They will be unemployed. So maybe for 6 months, they will collect unemployment, after which every police officer in Minneapolis Police Department will have to find a new job, whether it's a security guard or, construction business, whatever. But one thing you can be sure is Minneapolis, after they destroy the police in Minneapolis, will not rehire those Minneapolis police officers in the new force that's going to be criminal friendly or, people friendly, whatever the term they're using. Now, maybe this is a time that Minneapolis police officers should seek a transfer, before it gets too late. By the time you're laid off, it's hard to transfer. But now that you are still a police officer in Minneapolis, maybe you should apply to another police department, which is more police friendly. I mean, geez, are you going to sit there in Minneapolis for city council to defund the police, dismantle the police, and then for the mayor to veto it, and then it goes back to the Minneapolis police office, Minneapolis City Council, and then they override the veto, and then all of you will get the notices, you are fired, and then you're not going to get references, and after that, you're not going to get any jobs. You may not be able to find any police jobs anywhere in 50 states of the United States. Now at least, while you're still a policeman, you can move from Minneapolis. Why would you want to be in Minneapolis? Minneapolis Police Department has been stigmatized. So this is a lose-lose situation for you if you're a police officer in Minneapolis. And the smart thing to do is for all of you to just like move out of Minneapolis before they could fire you, right? So what I would tell you to do if you're a police officer in the city of Minneapolis is to go to the website right now, submit your application for a police job in Florida, which is very friendly to the police, or Texas. Well, Texas is not as friendly as the police as Florida. I would submit your application to Florida because Florida loves their police people, you know. And in fact, Florida Federation of Police Officers said, if you get fired from your job, just come to us. Hey, don't you want to be where you're wanted? Or do you want to be where you're hated? Minneapolis hates you if you're a police officer. Guilt by association, so to speak. So why stay? Doesn't make sense. Your children are going to be bullied at home, at school when they start going to school. They're going to be beaten up every day because their daddy is a police officer. Do you really, Minneapolis police officer, do you want to see your son getting beaten up every day in his elementary school or middle school or high school? Because that's what's going to happen. I mean, geez, for God's sake, haven't you gone to elementary? Haven't you been to middle school? Haven't you been to high school? It's bad enough with no problem. You still get beaten up from time to time or bullied. But now with your daddy being a Minneapolis police officer, geez, you're going to be bullied every day. You're going to have a wedgie. You're going to have people like maybe even raping you in that, in that bathroom. I mean, geez, for God's sake, we know that there are rapes going on in public school bathrooms and in our city. It happens. I mean, we have documented cases of it. And if you're a police officer, boys who've been raped by other boys. Geez, do you want that to happen to your son? I would say if you are a police officer in Minneapolis Police Department, this is the time to move. Do not stay where you're not wanted. Are you like stupid? Are you going to stay in Minneapolis as a police officer knowing that you're not wanted? What are you going to do? Like kneel every day to every person who comes in? For God's sake, have some pride, man. I mean, geez, pick up and leave. Be an American. That's what Americans would do. Like, do Americans stay where they're not wanted when they're bullied to death? I mean, do they just sit there, either fight back or leave? I mean, geez, for God's sake, don't you have pride? I mean, it's embarrassing. Yeah, nobody liked wusses, and Minneapolis police officers, you're looking like wusses. Wusses. Because look at this. You're about to lose everything you have. Everything. You're going to lose your job. As soon as city council passes defund police, dismantle police, mayor will not sign it, but they're going to override the veto. You're going to lose your job probably within a few weeks or a few months. You're going to lose it. Your wife, who's upset already, is going to be absolutely pissed at you. Will lose all respect for you because like any woman, she's like, why aren't you fighting back? Or why aren't you leaving? It's a logical thing for women to say to the men who are like being bullied, victimized, and act like a wuss. No woman likes a wuss as a boyfriend. No woman likes a wuss as a husband. But let's get this straight here. You did not put your knee on that man. And now you have to like suffer like a criminal. I mean, you think your wife's going to respect you if you continue to act like a criminal and you're not a criminal? Geez, that's worse than being a criminal. At least if you're a criminal, you deserve to be treated like a criminal. So your woman is like, I know you're a criminal, so I see you're being treated like a criminal. I understand. But like you're a God-fearing, law-abiding Minnesota police officer, and you're there, and you're not a criminal, but you're being treated like a criminal, and you're like, I'm okay with that. I'm just gonna I'm just going to kneel down. Your wife is going to be like, what? Who did I marry? A wuss. He has no backbone. Your children is like, my daddy's a wuss. Your daughter will be like, my daddy's a wimp. Do you want to destroy the image that you have worked so hard to create in your woman, the woman of your life, and your children who will no longer respect you after this year? This is the time to leave Minnesota. If you do not leave Minnesota now, you'll lose everything. You'll lose your job. You'll lose your self-respect. You will lose your woman. You will lose your children. Your children will never speak to you again if they go to school in Minnesota and get bullied about how their daddy is a police officer and a crook and blah, 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 blah. You know how awful children can get. I'm a public school teacher, so I know. I try to, piece everything over and try to have everybody love each other. But I tell you, there is bullying. That's just reality of American public school system. Didn't you go through American public school system? Maybe you were the bully. So you should understand what your children are looking at. You should leave now for your children's sake. If you're a Minneapolis police officer and you stay, you're like an idiot because you're going to lose your job. That's not guaranteed. Because city councilwomen are saying they're going to dismantle the police and they have the veto. They could override the veto. You will not have a job. That's 100% guaranteed. As of June 8, 2020, and you're going to stay in your job like a chump? You are nothing but a chump. You're a wuss. You're a wuss. Everybody's thinking you're a wuss. Everybody in your high school is thinking you're a wuss. Your wife is thinking you're a wuss. Your daughter's thinking you're a wuss. Your son's thinking you're a wuss because you're staying in Minnesota as a Minnesota police officer. How stupid do you have to be to stay as a police officer in Minnesota? I mean, geez, an idiot could tell you the smart thing to do is leave. Because the moment that your children go to public school, they're going to be beaten up every day, every single day. And it's going to be your fault, and your son's going to blame you every day for it. He's going to absolutely hate you because he knows he's getting beat up because of you. Now, if you go to Florida, where it's sunny and nice, where people love police officers, your son will not be beaten up every day. He may be the most popular kid in school. He may play varsity football, date a cheerleader, and marry a cheerleader, maybe. What are you going to do? Stay in Minnesota and make your son's life hell? Have your son hate you because you are a Minnesota police officer? Is that what you're going to do? What a loser. You're nothing but a loser. Maybe you need to be treated like a loser by the whole city of Minnesota. If you're not a loser, apply to a police job in Florida or another state where it's police friendly and leave. Take your own family. You think they're going to complain? They may, but it's better than your son getting beaten up every day and then hating you for the rest of your life. Your son will hate you the rest of your life if he's beaten up every day and raped in the bathroom by a bunch of older kids who are blaming you for what happened to George Floyd. That will happen. You know that. It will happen to some police officer's son in Minnesota. That's not guaranteed. You should be surprised if it doesn't happen to like over 50% of your children. Yeah, so I would say leave Minnesota now. I'm the Leonardo da Vinci of 21st century, and I look at this from many, many angles, and this is a lose-lose-lose situation for you Minnesota police officers. There is no way you're going to come out on top of this. Not in terms of your family, not in terms of your profession, not in terms of your community people. Do not be a martyr who ends up being hated by everybody you love. You leave, go to Florida, put the distance behind you. Go back to Minnesota for Christmases. Sometimes a man's got to do what a man's got to do, and that's this moment now to protect your son from being raped in the boys' locker room in his high school or middle school. A bunch of thugs who hate Minnesota police. Defund police, they will say as they rape your child. These are high school students raping high school students. This happens. It happened in New Jersey. It happens throughout America. There have been a lot of cases of it. So don't be surprised that your son is looking at a prison-like situation where he gets raped by a bunch of, gay high school students or gay high football players. And they're going to use defund police as the excuse. And you will be the blame because Heerak Christian Kim, running for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District, I know I'm not in Minnesota, warned you what's going to happen to your son. You didn't listen. So when it happens, you will remember Heerak Christian Kim, a candidate for U.S. Congress, independent candidate for U.S. Congress of Virginia 8th District, warned you about what's going to happen. You will remember what I said. Yeah, life is predictable. Yeah, there are certain things you can absolutely predict, like being bullied. And I would say being raped by a bunch of gay football players in a liberal high school in Minnesota. Yes, you can expect that if you're a son of a police officer in the Minnesota Police Department. Yeah, it's going to be like prison for you. You'll be like raped when you go to the bathroom. Yeah. I mean, so I would say if you're a Minnesota police officer, you need to leave now. Call up that friend in another city. If you don't have any friends, just file an application online. This is the time to move when you could actually get recommendation. Move to Florida as a police officer. You may even get a better job. Yeah, because the blue line may have sympathy for you. So you may get a promotion. So this is the time to move, Minnesota police officers. Don't be stupid now. Look at all these defund police signs. Do you think they're going to become nicer to you in the future? No. You have entered your living hell. Only way you're going to exit that hell is by leaving Minnesota. You and your family need to leave Minnesota. Thank God you have COVID-19 situation where everything was closed down, right? Because now you can leave and, it's like your son hasn't been raped yet. Yeah, but that's going to change in the future. Defund police is what that sounds like. It means take the money away from police department. Now, let's unpack this. Are police officers getting a lot of money? As I've shared with you that I worked as a clinical or CNA, certified nurse assistant. I have certified nursing assistant job experience and certificates from Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. A lot of the women that I work with who are certified nurse aides, their husbands were like police officers. Because, they start working as certified nurse aides like after high school. Because to become a certified nurse aide, you have like a 2 to 3 months class, and then you get the certification, and you practice as a certified nurse aide. So you help the nurse as a nurse's aide. Pay is around $12.50, but it beats like Walmart, which is like $8.50. And that's why people do it. And you could also have opportunities to progress further to maybe become an LPN, licensed practical nurse, and then your salary goes up to maybe like $20 an hour, $22 an hour. So that's why a lot of women go into certified nursing assistant, nursing aide, and then they get their foot in there, get some experience, and they apply for like LPN, licensed practical nurse program, which is generally 1 year. So they like rough it out for 1 year, and then after they get the certified nurse or licensed practical nurse license, their salary goes from like $12.50 or $13.50 to like $20.50, $22.50. And so a lot of my friends at work were like married to police officers, and police officers starting out as a rookie would get like $40,000 or whatever. So they start a family when they're like 18 or 19. They have their child, and and it's very happy family life. And Yeah, and you know, a lot of the police officers marry really pretty women. I mean, you guys are lucky, you know, because number one, you know, you start working early, like 18, 19, right? And then you can marry your high school sweetheart. And generally, like police officers were like athletes in high school, so you know they dated cheerleaders or something. Their wives are beautiful. You know, a lot of the police officers. So you're very lucky, you know, because that's like 50% of man's happiness is to be married to a beautiful woman. I mean, geez, for God's sake. I mean, let's I mean let's be honest about this, you know. So all of you police officers are lucky. I bet you over 50% of the police officers in Minnesota police officers are married to beautiful women. Now, lucky for you, you can relocate because police officers are needed around the country because there's always going to be crime, rape, killing, robbery, burglary, you know, assault, battery. You know, there's people need police. So you're lucky because you can find a job anywhere in America if you apply now online. You just have to get off your butt and do it. Um, and your wife, if she's like working as a certified nurse's aide or a nurse, I'm sure you have no problem getting a job anywhere in America. So this is the time to move. Yeah. But defund police, I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. These Democrats and, Minnesota, city council people are Democrats. And this is why you should vote for me. Heerak Christian Kim for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District. I'm an independent candidate for U.S. Congress, but I'm conservative. I support the police. Except when police were arresting like pastors. And I've said my piece, and you've learned your lesson. You know not to arrest, Christian pastors in the future because look what's happening to you. God's pissed off at you. Spiritually speaking, why do you think this is happening to you? Because you arrested servants of God. So God's going to just make you suffer a little bit. But yeah, why do you think Minnesota is suffering? Yeah, but if you're a Minneapolis police officer, you need to leave. It's very important. I give you a gift of life through this show. You should watch this show every day because I created this show, COVID-19 Up There by Heerak, to save your life. What you may not be able to see because you're a mere mortal, I, Heerak Christian Kim, Leonardo da Vinci of 21st century can see. When you cannot see what happened to your son, I am saying your son's going to be raped by another guy who's homosexual. High school football player or an athlete in his school will rape him using this defund police as an excuse to rape him. And all of the high school students will be watching. They'll be clapping as the gay boy rapes your boy in the boys' bathroom, yelling, defund police. Have you ever been in a situation where a nerd is being bullied? Well, times have changed. Now people actually rape people in public high schools, bathrooms. And we have documented cases of this. I'm not just making this up. There are documented cases of football players. When I say rape, putting their penis into someone's anus opening, okay? That's what I'm saying. I want to be specific because you think like rape means like guys hitting him on the head or giving a wedgie. No. When I say gay boy will be raping the son of a Minneapolis police officer, what I mean is gay football player who is a 12th grader who is 230 pounds, 6'5", and homosexual will be taking your son's pants down and sticking his penis into your boy's anal opening, thereby causing bleeding because, there's probably going to be no lubricant, and your child will be traumatized, and he probably will not tell you about it. Because everyone in his school is just like clapping. Now, saying defund police, defund police. You don't think this will happen? Are you a police officer, really? I mean, geez, for God's sake. If you can't see this happening, oh my gosh, I mean, there's no hope for you. Yeah. these things to happen. It has happened in New Jersey. It has happened in like other parts of the country. Yeah, there are documented cases of this happening throughout the United States in public schools, public high schools. It will happen to your son, your boy, because of you. Just because you're a Minneapolis police officer, this is going to happen to you. And everyone knows you're like his father. Right? You know, he can't hide it. Even if you quit now, it doesn't mean anything. He's been marked. This is the time to leave Minneapolis, Minnesota. I mean, leave Minnesota altogether. It's a liberal democratic state. I mean, geez, what can it possibly offer you? Baby killing, maybe, through abortion laws. Yeah, leave Minnesota. It's like, as I've said in the previous shows, I would never live in Minnesota. I think it's like, I mean, geez, you know, I mean, there's so many liberal white progressives in Minnesota. I will feel threatened in Minnesota because I support Christian value system. I'm against homosexuality and gay marriage. I'm against abortion. And I just don't feel safe in Minnesota. I think Minnesota people they don't respect the Bible. They don't follow the Bible. State politicians, look at this. Minnesota City Council are going to fire every single police officer in Minnesota police office just because they're politically liberal. This is what I mean. Liberal progressives are the most evil people in America. Minnesota City Council proves what I'm saying. They will take job away from you even though you did nothing wrong. You risk your life as a Minneapolis police officer, apprehending criminals, saving lives of good law-abiding citizens. What do you get? You're about to have your son getting raped in his high school bathroom once the school starts back up. You are painted as a criminal. And you know how bad criminals can get. I mean, geez, are we saying that there is no crime here? In the city of Chicago, every weekend, people kill each other. And some of them are not even criminals. But obviously, if you're killing somebody, you're a criminal. Yeah, it's a jungle out there in the inner city. And a lot of crime. And, you know, in certain parts of the city, police officers are afraid to go. In Chicago, they don't even show up. They don't even drive around because they don't want to die. Now, you want to defund police? Well, you know, if you live in a violent inner city, there's no police. They don't come there. Like when I was living in Logan and like in violent area, no police officer came by because they don't want to die. So in the inner city, we do not live with police. I mean, whether you fund the police or defund the police, it doesn't affect us because we are living in an inner city where police officers are afraid to come. So it doesn't, we don't care if you defund the police or fund the police, but police are never going to show up. Anyway, you call 911, the police officer takes like 3 hours to come. By that time, everybody's dead. So, yeah, there are people crying, defund the police. You know, I say two groups of people cry, defund the police. People in the inner city, like in Chicago, Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York, who never see the police. I mean, they call 911, police will never come. So they're like, defund the police because it's like it doesn't affect their life. So that's one group of people. People living in the inner city who never see the police anyway, who have to fend for themselves anyway. It's like a jungle. They're going to say defund the police because it doesn't affect them. Second group of people who say defund the police are these like Antifa, wealthy, white, Democrat progressives who live in like, you know, Vienna, Virginia, who never see crime, who never see police. They're like, defund the police because they're like, I've never been mugged. You know, we even leave our back door open. There is no crime in Vienna, Virginia. Defund the police, you know. These are the two groups of idiots who say defund the police. Because the suburban idiot from Vienna is like, oh, you know, we live in a nice, wealthy neighborhood. We never see the police. We never see crime. Defund the police. We are card-carrying white Democrats. Defund the police, you know. You have these white Democrat, wealthy liberals, defund the police. And you see like some of the people holding up defund police sign, like white hands. That's what they are. They're from probably from Vienna, Virginia. These liberal white, oh, let's save the tree. Let's hug the tree. I'm a vegan. I'm a vegan. Oh, emission. Yeah, I drive a, what is it, Elon Musk's car because I can afford it. The car costs 3 times normal cars. Yeah, I'm from Vienna, Virginia. Defund the police. Like idiots like that will say defund the police. Or if you're in the inner city, like you're living in a gangster's paradise. You don't know where you're going if you're going to go from 23 to 24 because you're living in a gangster's paradise. Yeah, if you're one of these who don't even know whether you're going to survive tomorrow because you're living in the jungle of the inner city, then yeah, you have to defund the police because police are never there anyway. I mean, misery wants company. You may die before you reach 24. You want everybody to die before they reach 24. Defund the police so suburban people can experience what it feels like to be inner city, powerless and defenseless against crimes. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. Defund police is the stupidest idea in the world. And from what I understand, Don Beyer, Jennifer Waxton, Mark Warner, Ralph Northam, all these Democrats in Virginia want to defund the police. They support this stuff. Are you going to vote for them in 2020? Vote for Heerak Christian Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress? Because I am what you need, not Don Beyer, who wants to defund the police. For God's sake, you guys what do you think will happen if you defund the police? Defund the police, defund the police, defund the police. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? For God's sake, what do you think is going to happen? If you're a card-carrying Democrat in Arlington Police Department, are you going to vote Democrat? Are you like an idiot? After defund the police, you're going to vote Democrat? Really? You're going to vote for Don Beyer? I mean, you must be like a chomp. Chomp, 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 chomp. Vote for Heerak Christian Kim. Because I believe in law and order. I believe that police can be good. I certainly believe that you should not defund the police. I mean, geez, that's ridiculous. I believe that you should give more money to police and police work. I mean, my argument is that police departments are not getting enough money to protect the citizens. We need to give more money to the police department. If you vote for me, Heerak Christian Kim, for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District, I promise to give more money to the police, hire more police officers to protect U.S. citizens from looters and Antifa. So vote for Heerak Christian Kim for U.S. Congress of Virginia's 8th District because Heerak stands against defunding the police. Unlike all these liberal Democrats in Virginia's 8th District. Jeez, for God's sake. I mean, I told you the Democrats are crazy. I told you Democrats are destroying America. I mean, what more proof do you need? Defund the police? Does that even make sense to you? Get rid of people who protect you from criminals? I mean, geez, when COVID-19 hit, all these Democrat mayors and governors are freeing criminals from prisons. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck are they doing? Now they want to destroy the police. I mean, what do they want to do? Do they want all of your daughters to be raped by criminals? I mean, geez, call 911. Oh, sorry, police has been defunded. There are no police officers to help you. Is that what you want? For God's sake. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, I saw Nancy Pelosi kneel today in the Capitol. And she's like, I've fallen, I can't get up. She couldn't get up. I don't know if you remember that commercial. I've fallen, I can't get up. And I was like thinking about that commercial. I don't know. Am I the only one or did you think about that too? But she didn't fall, to be honest with you. She just kneeled and she couldn't get up. I mean, but I mean, I think it's good to kneel and pray, but there's time for everything. There's time for peace. There's time for war. But when there's this defund police movement going around, you know, you know how in Jerry Maguire, there's a state, Jerry Maguire says, "You had me at hello." You know, I don't know if you know that scene. I can't do the scene very well. I'm not like Tom Cruise, but I think I'm better looking than Tom Cruise. What do you think? I have that rugged masculinity going for me. Tom Cruise has that little sissy boy thing. Although he plays, like kind of tough roles, but he's no Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm gonna pump you up, and he's not Bruce Willis with that look. I kind of look like Bruce Willis, like Korean Bruce Willis. No, he's kind of, has that same kind of demeanor. And he's no Mel Gibson. I mean, Mel Gibson's a little pretty boy, but he's kind of like he's tough. Like Lethal Weapon. They played like a lot of tough roles there. I don't know if you've seen Lethal Weapon, but those are pretty entertaining. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. From the old days, old school. Yeah, but anyway, yeah. I guess Tom Cruise is kind of like tough too, but I can't respect a woman. I can't respect a guy who dropped Nicole Kidman. What a loser! I mean, he couldn't hold on to Nicole Kidman. She's like one of the most beautiful women, and I mean, geez, I mean, you marry one of the most beautiful women. I mean, the least you could do is hold on to her. Geez, for God's sake, Tom. I mean, every woman you've dated since Nicole Kidman is like inferior in beauty to her. I mean, geez, show me one woman you've dated since Nicole Kidman who like matches her beauty. Not a single one. Have you seen Nicole Kidman on Batman when she started? Oh my gosh! I mean, geez. I mean, it inspires you want to like, be a Batman. I don't know. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, yeah, you know, defunding the police, that's just ridiculous. And the Democrats are just so stupid. I mean, oh my gosh, Democrats make this so easy. Oh my gosh. I mean, I look at this, defund police, you see all the signs of defund police. I'm like, thank you, God. Thank you, God. I think God loves me. This I know. I mean, geez, for God's sake, defund police? Are you serious? I mean, am I living in a bizarro world? Bizarro world? Is the world like shaking? Is the world coming to an end? Defund police? What an idiotic idea is that? I mean, how stupid do you have to be to say defund police, defund police, defund police? I mean, that's like the most idiotic, stupid thing I've heard in my life. Defund police? I mean, geez, for God's sake, what do you want to do? Like, have criminals rob you and then you have nobody to turn to? People complain now because they call 911 and police takes like 30 minutes to come. Defund police? That's like having no police. I mean, geez, for God's sake, what do you want to do? Make police officers into slaves? Cut their wages? I mean, geez, for God's sake, they're getting paid peanuts for risking their lives right now. Police get paid peanuts to risk their life. I mean, what kind of job is that? I mean, geez, who wants that job? You should be thankful that there are people who want the job. I mean, geez, they're risking their life, getting paid peanuts to save you. I mean, police officers are probably the greatest heroes in America by the traditional model of hero. They risk their life to save you. And just because one police officer killed one guy, probably not intentionally even, although it's a stupid thing to put his knee on somebody for 8 minutes. Geez, I mean, just because of that one incident, you want to like get rid of the police department? Oh my gosh. Oh, defund police, defund police, defund police. I mean, it's stupid and idiotic. I mean, I have something to talk about. Thank God. God loves me. You know, defund police. Oh my gosh, Don Byer, do you support defund police? Are you an idiot? I mean, I want to hear Don Byer say, I do not support defund police from his own mouth. I want to hear Governor Northam say with his own lips, I do not support defund police. I'd love to hear that. I mean, geez, if you're a police officer in Virginia, can you trust your governor, Northam? For God's sake, he's going to like screw you over. Excuse the French. If you're a police officer in Arlington County, Fairfax County, Alexandria City, Falls Church, you know your Democratic politicians are going to screw you over. I mean, geez, I mean, what more proof do you need? These politicians hate you. I mean, they literally hate you. They want you to lose your job. They want you to lose your societal respect. They want you to lose your self-respect. They want your wife to disrespect you because, you know, I mean, geez, the way the police officers are being treated, defund police. I mean, you know, for God's sake, I mean, you know, this is not Operation Infinite Humiliation of the police officers, but they're making it out to be, let's humiliate police officers infinitely. I mean, geez, for God's sake, is that justice? No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. I mean, geez, I stand up for justice for police officers. So I'm going to cheer for police officers just because I think they're getting a bad rap. Because at a certain point, justice becomes injustice. Do you see what I'm saying? Justice is justice until it becomes injustice. When you're telling police officers they should be fired from their job, that police officers should be defunded, that whole city council, like Alexandria City Council, you better vote in all like conservatives, because your election is what, 2021. Hey, conservatives, gear up to run for office next year. I think we can make Alexandria all conservative, every single city member, because there ain't no millionaire who want an Antifa defunding the police. So I'll do a little cheer for police. Arlington County Police. Doesn't sound quite right. VA Police. VA Police. Yeah, that sounds better. Virginia 8th District Police. VA Police. VA Police. I'm going to put that baritone tone on, you know, just to give you honor. VA Police. VA Police. Well, pom-poms look a little bit, you know. But yeah, you know, I don't know what I can do. Oh, I can use the flag. VA Police. VA Police. Yeah. But anyway, you get my point. I mean, yeah, there are things that police have done wrong. But geez, justice doesn't mean you just like humiliate them until they die. That's just not fair. There's a limit to everything. You know, punishment must match the crime. You cannot like punish everybody for no reason. I mean, George Floyd is not a reason to punish every police officer forever, taking their job. That's not justice. And that's why I could say that this applies in this case. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. I want justice for police officers. I want justice for George Floyd, but I also want justice for police officers. What did I say in my show? Just go back to my show from several days ago, maybe like a week ago, where I talked about this exact thing. I talked about this, that this would happen. And this happened. Just go back to the show, like it was like May 26th show or May 25th show, May 27th show. Just go back to that show and watch what I said. What I said in that show has come true because I'm the Leonardo da Vinci of 21st century. I know what's going to happen. Just like when I say Minnesota police officer boys will be raped by some bunch of big gay football players in their high school for high school students, that will happen. I'll assure you that will happen. You should expect that to happen. I mean, geez, you're a police officer. You know what happens in high schools now. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Minnesota police officers should move. I'm trying to save you. So there are several things I'm going to talk about today, and those are likely outcomes of defunding the police movement in 2020. You think COVID-19 was bad? Let me get some soda in there. Yeah, because we're about to start like a whole series of a discussion on interesting stuff that you need to know. This is what you gotta tell your friends, your relatives, your cousins, your school classmates, everybody to watch this show, because you need to understand what's going on. Right? You're like clueless. You're like walking in the dark without a flashlight. You need like Heerak Christian Kim to light his pen light, nursing pen light for you. See, as you know, I'm graduating as a clinical nurse leader from Georgetown University. I've been in the master's program at the School of Nursing and Health Study for 2 years now, with my cohort of all of us together are 25 people. We started out with 34. A lot of people bit the dust, and now we're down to 25. But we are finishing our program this summer, going out there to be a clinical nurse leaders. So I just want to celebrate with my fellow members. I love you guys. Yeah. Pin, 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 pin. Oh, we had a pinning ceremony recently. Actually, you could see our pinning ceremony, the whole video. It's like an hour long, through one of the tweets on my Twitter page, Heerak for Congress, number 4, Heerak for Congress. And you can see all of my fellow CNL members. Maybe you know them. Clinical nurse leader members. There are 25 of us who are pinned. So go and watch our pinning ceremony. 2020 pinning ceremony from School of Nursing and Health Studies. There are 25 of us from School of, with Clinical Nurse Leader Program. And there are 26 people from Clinical Nurse Leader Program, Bachelor of Science in Nursing Program. 26 of the bachelor people. They're like 4-year bachelors, traditional BSN program, we call them. And then there are 25 of us who are Masters of Science, Clinical Nurse Leader Program. So, so watch that, So, yes, I have a pen light. This is what we use to examine your eyes, and, we use this to examine your ears as well, and your nose. Yeah. So this is like my essential equipment. Like police officers, they have gun, that's an essential equipment. Well, actually, to be honest, that's a scope is our essential equipment, but that's an important one as well. Yeah. Now, I'm going to talk about what is possible when we defund the police, or as a result of defund the police movement in 2020. Option number 1, we're going to have massive pogroms targeting Jewish people, because that's what happens. Whenever there's chaos in society, Jews end up getting persecuted, violently attacked, and killed. That's just been happening for 2,000 years of Western history. So you should be surprised if this happens in 2020 America. In the future, maybe in like a week, 2 weeks, a few days, maybe tonight, who knows, But I think that's something you have to expect in Western civilization. If you're in a country that belongs to Western civilization and there is chaos, generally you should expect violent attack of Jewish people by like others, whether they're Antifa or whatever. Or they could be like looters. They're just seizing the opportunity to attack Jews physically and kill them, in the confusion. They want to call 911. 911, really? Even Leo doubts that 911 can protect you during defund police era. Yeah. So I think if you're a Jewish person in America in 2020 during the defund police movement, I would get like protection. I mean, like concealed carry permit, or I don't know what kind of permit you need, but get all the permits: concealed permit, reveal permit, assault rifle permit. I mean, geez, if you're Jewish in 2020, defund police America with 2,000 years of Western civilization history, you know what's coming. I mean, geez, you shouldn't be surprised when it comes. I mean, pogroms are coming. Pogroms are coming. Yeah. Because 2,000 years, that's what always happens when there's confusion. When there's social unrest, Jews always get killed by like Gentiles. That always happens. Just read history, Western civilization history. It happened in Russia. Yeah, it happened like between 1890 to 1910. And a lot of Russian Jews escaped. Those who weren't killed escaped then. So you may know some Russian Jewish friends whose grandfather came during that period. Yeah, there's a lot of them. A lot of Jews in Philadelphia. That's where most Jews came, to Philly. Yeah. So Russian pogroms, violence against Jews is something you need to expect during defund police movement. It may happen in a little bit, or like it could be widespread, like kind of like George Floyd protests. It's happened in every city in America. Pogroms can be like that. It can happen in every city during the defund police movement 2020. So yeah, I would get protection if I were you. Yeah. Number two, second thing that could happen is Holocaust could happen. So the pogroms happened as a spontaneous violence by people, just like wanting to be violent. And like, people just wanting to loot for no reason. Some people are looting and, burning cars for no reason, and they may not even be thinking about George Floyd as they did it, Some people just like to be violent, they just revel in violence. And that's what happened during pogroms. There are people who didn't, it's not like they hated Jews, but they enjoyed the violence. So they went around killing Jews, in Russian pogroms, 1890 to 1910. So you will have, I would say majority of the people will be just doing it just because they enjoy the violence, And anybody who's been to American high school know that a lot of people like to watch violence, just they enjoy it. As long as they're not getting hurt, they enjoy inflicting violence, And that's what pogroms are, right? These Russians in pogroms, they went and beat up and killed Jews. But the Russians were not hurt. So it was like one-way violence. And, people jump in to participate in things like that, And so that's a real possibility, I would say. I wouldn't be surprised. It's early. It's only June 8th. But, anything would happen, as you've seen how quickly George Floyd protests became very violent and spread throughout the country, right? In less than a week. In the same way, pogroms could spread through America and become massively violent, killing thousands, 10,000s of Jews in a matter of a week. That could happen like just out of nowhere. That's something that could happen. That's why I'm saying you should probably get protection, to protect your family, expecting that to happen, because I think right now you should expect it, even if it doesn't happen. It's a very chaotic environment now. Anything would happen right now. Even a revolutionary war can break out, or civil war, coup d'etat could happen. Anything could happen. We don't know what will happen, but anything could happen. And I think most historians would agree that we are in a very uncertain environment, and anything could happen. And so I think that's why you need to know where all the politicians stand. What do they think about Antifa? What do they think about defund police? You need to ask that of every Republican, every Democrat, every independent politician right now. Because you're impacted by what's going to happen in history in the future. And you don't know what's going to happen. Right now, nobody knows what's going to happen. I'm showing you what could happen. So these are options. So that's door number one is pogroms, where all the Gentiles in America, like 330 million American Gentiles, gang up on Jews and then end up killing most of them or all of them. That's option number one. And we see that from Russian pogroms. It happened, it can happen again. It happened not in America, but it happened in Russia, but it happened in history, so it could happen. And pogroms happen not just in Russia, it happened throughout history in 2,000 years. You know, pogroms in Russia was the biggest, you know, but it's not the only time, you know, in history. Second option is you will have Holocaust in America. Because Antifa is anti-fascist and represents socialism, communism, and they're attacking the police, a lot of Americans who never sided with anybody now could be swinging right. Meaning, until 2020 America, they were like voting for the umpire. They're kind of like embracing social causes and stuff like that. But after 2020, something snaps. And you can have a whole massive number of people, even the majority of the country, swinging extremely right wing. And people will agree that 2020 America has some similarities with 1919 Germany, you know, which is seen as having caused the Nazi era to come into existence. So, and before 1919, Germany was very liberal. Like, you know, all of Germany was like Virginia State District, very liberal. And then all of Germany swung extremely right wing and became fascist. And historians call this the pendulum swing. They were extremely liberal, and then the pendulum swung back to extremely right wing. So they say, in history, they say, beware of extreme liberals, because they're the ones who's going to become extreme, like they're fascists. And some historians have described it as like close line between love and hate. People who hate fascists are the one most likely to fall in love with fascists or become fascists themselves. Because if they are so emotionally vested with fascists, that is just you know, a couple triggers away, or even one trigger away from them becoming fascists themselves. Haven't you heard of stories where a woman hates a guy and then next thing you know, she's having sex with him or even getting married to him? And you know, these, you see this in a movie all the time. You know, if you don't have any feelings, then you're safe. But when you have like hatred, it could become love. Love, of course, can also become hatred. You know, it goes both ways, right? The girl that you love the most, you may end up hating the most. And you see this like fight between boyfriend and girlfriend who are lovey-dovey, sometimes get uglier than any kind of other fight that you've seen. Because there's a fine line between love and hate. Both are emotions. And different triggers can push a person toward hatred or love. And so when someone extremely loves someone, that could turn into extreme hatred. That's possible. If somebody extremely hates someone, it could turn into extreme love. I mean, you know, so people in the extremes will swing back and forth. They're unpredictable, meaning today's communists could be tomorrow's fascists. I mean, it's not, like today's Antifa could be tomorrow's fascists who call for annihilation of all the Jews in America. Because that's what happened in Germany. The whole German people were like Antifa, they were like socialists, like liberals. That the whole country swung to the opposite end and wanted to kill everybody who's Jewish. So in 1870, they said Germany was, or 1850, they said Germany was the most pro-Jewish country in the world, 1850. About 100 years later, it became the most anti-Jewish country in the world, you know? And, you know, the pendulum swung. And so they said the country that loved the Jew the most in the 1800s hated the Jews most in 1900s. The greatest violence was committed by people who in history have loved the Jews the most. I mean, like, we read about Lessig, who's a German writer, and Aufklärung during the Enlightenment period, Wissenschaft des Judentum, this Jewish Haskalah movement, intellectual movement, the greatest one of its kind in history, some say, was in Germany, German Jews, in 1800s. So they said it was the golden age of German Jews, 1800s. That's when the Reformed Jewish movement was born. Jews were eating pork and bacon and sausages, and they were trying to contextualize Judaism to fit the liberal, socialist German society, kind of like, American, kind of now, where Jews are like eating pork and they're trying to fit in with the liberal environment. And then the society swung, and then they start killing Jews. So because it happened in Germany, you can probably predict that there's a high likelihood that it will happen in America. I mean, so that's door number 2. Where will America go? Door number 1 or door number 2? So the second potential outcome of defund police movement of 2020 is Antifa swinging extremely in the other direction, becoming fascists themselves, and then becoming leaders and killing all the Jews in America systematically. So they go from anarchist, Antifa, anti-fascist, and they'll swing to the opposite direction, become fascist, using the structures of the country to kill all the Jews. And that's what happened in the Holocaust. Germans swung from extreme left wing, like Antifa position, to Nazi position. Yeah. Yeah. And some people call that the Newton law of social sciences, because whatever force you exert on object, equal opposite force will be exerted. So the more extremely left you become, that same country will become more extremely right-wing. And so in Europe, Germany was the most left-wing country in 1800s. No other countries were that left-wing. And that's why Germany became the most right-wing country in 20th century. So historians, examine 200-300 years, sometimes 1,000 years to understand what's going on. Yeah, so there is high likelihood that America will have a Holocaust. So that is door option 2. It's not as likely as spontaneous violence. You've seen it on TV, right? They're burning down police cars. Just imagine same kind of violent group burning down synagogues, Jewish centers, JCCs, and homes of Jewish people that they know, right? It's not far of a stretch to see people who are burning down police cars could burn down synagogues. Because police car is supposed to be kind of sacred. I mean, if you know what I mean, in a Western society, in a civilized society, police cars represent law and order. And so a police car is considered sacred, like you don't touch that thing. So if you're violently assaulting a police car, you're capable of assaulting anything, anybody, any building. I think, that's a logical conclusion for you to make. And so people who are willing to burn down police cars can easily burn down synagogues, Jewish businesses, Jewish homes, Jewish individuals, I mean, you should understand that violence is violence. Yeah, and it's transferable. Number 3, third possibility is that Antifa enjoys their triumph as Antifa, anti-fascist, leftist, communist, Marxist, Leninist. They align themselves with Russia's Marxist, Leninist, China's communists, and they join hands. And we see what China is doing in Hong Kong, right? Communists can be pretty violent. I mean, fascists can deprive you of your rights, but communists can deprive of your rights too. I mean, you know, and Antifa is more like communism, and a socialist, Marxist. So Antifa may see their dream come true, kind of like Chiang Kai-shek in China, who was a legitimate president, being kicked out in a Mao Zedong communist revolution, you know? And we've seen that. And he went to, Chiang Kai-shek went to Taiwan to hide out. Chiang Kai-shek married the girl who went to Smith College. You know, my first serious girlfriend, you know, Alice Sim Ji-young-yi, she went to Smith. And, you know, I share with you, you know, like Samsung billionaire. Yeah. So anyhow, Antifa could succeed and America could become a Marxist, Leninist, socialist country. Don't think that it can't happen. You saw the revolts, right? You saw the violent revolts in every city of America. I assure you, America can become a communist dictatorship. We're just like few moves away from becoming like communist China under Mao Zedong. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, fortunately for you, there's nobody like Mao Zedong. You know, the communist movement in China had Mao Zedong, but Antifa doesn't have a figurehead. So I mean, so that's why it's door number 3. It's less likely than the pogroms where people like violently start burning down Jewish houses of worship, Jewish community centers, and Jewish businesses start burning down Jewish homes and killing Jews violently, spontaneously. And obviously, police is defunded. There's no one to protect you. Yeah, that's the irony because, you know, I don't know if you read Animal Farm. There's this Trotsky, he's Jewish. He supported communist overthrow of Tsarist Russia. Jewish guy, Trotsky. Because a lot of Jews in Russia, just like America, were kind of like Antifa. You know, they wanted to like overthrow the regime. And when they succeeded, guess who got killed off first? Yeah, the Jewish guy. Yeah. The first thing the communists did once they succeeded their communist revolution is kill the smart Jewish guy who made it happen. It sucks, man. It sucks, man. That's what happened. Yeah, because all the Gentiles gang up on you. I mean, the Talmud said that, you know. I mean, the popular Jewish thing is Kulam Negadenu. You know, everyone's against us. I mean, geez, Jews been saying that for like past 5,000 years. What do you think that is? Because history after history proves that to be true. And that's what happened in the Russian Revolution, you know, Bolshevik Revolution. You know, the brains were the Jews. And then once it succeeded, they killed off all the brains. Yeah. Because all the Gentiles united. That's what happened. You know how many Jews communist China killed? They said far more than Hitler's Germany. You just don't hear about it because they just killed them like insidiously. They hid the fact from the world. They said something like 8 million Jews were killed in communist Russia. Yeah, by Stalin. Yeah, Trotsky the Jew and like all these Bolshevik, Antifa, Jewish revolutionaries who used their brain power to make it successful, they were all killed off. The Jews were systematically killed by the communists. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, geez. Ask any Russian expert. Ask Corey Velt, my buddy, who's the director of Russian Institute at George Washington University. Ask him. Yeah, that's what happened. So that's door number 3. Door number 4 is gang violence. Yeah, gang violence. Because we have gangs. We have MS-13, we have Blood and the Crips. We have a lot of gangs. We have Vietnamese gangs, we have Korean gangs, we have Chinese gangs, the Triad. We have a lot of gangs in America. And the only reason the gangs are not taking over our cities is because of the police. Because they're afraid of the police. You get rid of the police, gangs are going to rise to power. Yeah, gang warfare. I mean, Chicago. I mean, there's gang warfare in Chicago right now. Baltimore. Yeah, black people killing black people. Black on black violence, as they say. B.O.B. Bob. Bobby. Black on black violence. Bob. Hobby. Yeah. Yes. Gang violence is door number 4. That's less likely than the first 3 doors. That's why it's the 4th door. 5th door is the 5th column, and that is the police officers rising up. The blue wall reconstitutes itself, and the empire strikes back. The blue wall strikes back. Do you see the guy with the baton? They'll go around beating black people intentionally. They'll mistreat black people on purpose, because that's the way they're going to get back. So the society can reconstitute around the police. They're going to intentionally go around beating up black people. So that's an option. I'm not saying that will happen. Obviously, I don't want that to happen. You know, all my children in Savoy Elementary School, you know, I call my students my children. I don't want them to get beaten up by police, but I'm just saying this can happen. It's door number 5. It can happen because you're humiliating the police. It's kind of like 1990 Germany. You know, there's so much humiliation that a nation can take or police officers can take after that. They snap and they don't care what you say. They don't do what they want. So, and they have the guns, you know, and they're national. So door number 5 is that blue line reconstitutes itself, and then it starts violently responding to defund police movement by going around beating up black people intentionally, maybe wearing Antifa outfits, you know, when they're not working as police officers. So they organize vigilante groups and start killing off black people in their communities during off-duty time. So that's why, you know, the figure is fuzzy, and you see the three police officers and little stick legs to illustrate that they could do that. I mean, you know, you think that it can happen. It can happen. Yeah, it's happened in history. Yeah, because, you know, they all know how they have access to political database, police database. They could look up every information they want. And like when they're like not on duty, they could, you know, play vigilante. They would take photos of people who are violently protesting, you know, or whatever. Or they could just start targeting black leaders, like, you know, NAACP leaders, or, you know, Black Caucus leaders, or, you know, black politicians in the city. And this could happen, you know. It could happen, you know, racially, meaning white police officers against black politicians. But it could also happen with black police officers uniting behind the wall, the blue wall, against black politicians. So, you know, that's an option that could happen in history, you know. So that's option number 5. See, I give you all the options because right now on June 8, 2020, we don't know which door America will enter. We're at the defund police stage in history. The protest is going on. It has entered the defund police protest over the weekend, because before that it was like, no justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. It was like pro-George Floyd protest. But now it's more like anti-police, not only anti-police, but like, let's make police suffer infinitely. You know, they've entered defund police stage. Many Americans are like, you lost me at defund police. Yeah, that's what they're saying. You lost me at defund police. Yeah. Now, option number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is you're going to have militia rising in all 50 states, in every city, in every town, even Vienna, Virginia, because they're afraid and they feel the need to protect themselves. You know, you got to remember, you know, white folk can rattle. You know, like you could scare the white folk with these defund police rhetoric. And the white folk, they're the majority. Like they're like over what, 60% of America? They will want protection. So they're going to organize to get protection. That's how KKK formed, as you know. KKK in the South did not form as a violent group. They formed like as a group to defend the Southerners, you know, during the Reconstruction era when a lot of U.S. military people were abusing their power, raping the Southern women, you know, and they felt like, you know, we need to have some kind of constitution of to form our protection, you know. So it was kind of formed as like a defensive organization after Civil War to protect themselves as against the Unionists who are raping their sisters or the, you know, their daughters and stuff like that. And so, yeah, you gotta see it as a when people are afraid, they will do irrational things to defend themselves, like forming a militia. And so that's like door number 6, that America would be organized around these militias. You know, and I guess President Trump wins. I guess they probably all support President Trump unless you start condemning like white nationalists. Then they'll see him as a traitor. You know, but I mean, you know, as I've shared on this show, most white people know someone who's a white nationalist. Like their uncle is a white nationalist, or their father is a white nationalist, their cousin is a white nationalist, their brother may be a white nationalist. You know, I mean, it's the white world. I'm Korean. I'm not part of that white world. And if you're black, you're not part of that white world. If you're Jewish, you're not part of that white world. Because once you marry a Gentile white guy, every relative of his will not, you know, they'll form a white Gentile wall so you don't find out the facts. You know how that is. It's kind of like a Gentile guy marrying a Jewish woman, you know, Orthodox Jewish woman. And the whole family is Orthodox Jewish. I mean, it's similar, right? There's going to be an Orthodox Jewish wall against the one Gentile who married into that Orthodox family, even if he converts. Yeah. So, so what do you think? Do you think they're going to go into door number 1, pogroms? Door number 2, the Holocaust and fascism? Door number 3, communism, Antifa, rise to power? And we have a successful communist Marxist revolution in the year 2020 or 2021. Door number 4, will gang violence proliferate and every city become like Chicago with people dying from gun violence every weekend? That gun violence is gang violence in Chicago. Yeah. Or you think we'll have door number 5, where police officers organize vigilante groups and start killing off black politicians, black social leaders, black educators, black community leaders, you know. Do you think that will happen? Or door number 6, where you will have like militia forming in every city, every town, every countryside. And they're going to all be different militias. And they're not going to be all the same. Just, you know, for the purpose of protecting their community. So which door do you think America will enter? Because we are at the defund police stage. And it doesn't seem like defund police movement is going to die down. So if defund police movement goes forward, I'm predicting that one of these 6 things will happen as a result. So these are the results to the cause. So think about it and see what you think. I mean, feel free to email me, let me know. Yeah, discuss it among yourself, discuss it in your social media. I mean, this is, in a sense, for a historian, an exciting period because a lot can happen that is uncertain. We're like in a period of uncertainty. We don't know what's going to happen. This country may become a communist dictatorship, like China or Russia. Yeah, they went through like a communist, leftist, socialist revolution. But I would encourage all of you to arm yourself because we don't know where we're going. You can hedge your bets. I mean, I would, right? I'm a supporter of First Amendment. And obviously I practice my First Amendment rights to freedom of speech here on this show. But I also am a very strong supporter of the Second Amendment, right to bear arms. So because things are uncertain, and violence could happen anywhere in America, anywhere. I mean, literally anywhere. I would encourage all of you to protect yourself. I mean, I say this as someone who cares about you, and you've seen what's been happening on the screen. I'm a historian, so I know what can happen in history. And you saw how quickly violence erupted and spread throughout the nation. Less than a week. This can happen out of nowhere in Virginia's 8th district. If there's some kind of gang violence or some kind of civil unrest that happens in Virginia's 8th district, you can't go out and get a gun. It's too late. You know, you could have 100 people coming through your door right there, breaking through your door and raping all of your daughters. You don't think that could happen? It has happened in history. It can happen in America. It can happen in Arlington. It can happen in Alexandria. It can happen in Falls Church. It can happen in Fairfax. It can happen anywhere in the world. But right now in America, because of what's been going on, social unrest, I would say you should not be surprised if you one day have 100 people coming that through your door right there, and you see your 3 daughters being raped before your eyes. I don't think you should be surprised. Because why? Because Heerak Christian Kim warned you that that could happen. It's one of the possibilities. Obviously, Heerak Christian Kim, as independent candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th district, doesn't want this to happen. But I'm just saying you need to prepare. What harm does it do to prepare? For God's sake, just buy the assault rifle, semi-automatic rifle that shoots like 100 rounds in a minute or more. Buy, ammunition. Buy a shotgun, several shotguns. Buy several handguns. Teach all your children how to use it, just in case. And then lock them up somewhere, like in your bedroom. Obviously, you want it to be accessible in case violence erupts. You gotta be able to open them right away. You know, you need to prepare because it can happen. They're talking about defunding the police, dismantling the police. What do you think? There's nothing sacred right now in America. Yeah, I'm telling you, tomorrow may have like 100 people breaking down your door, raping all 3 of your teenage daughters right before your eyes, and then shooting them in front of you if you don't have protection. You don't know what will happen. We don't know. But if you think America of 2020 is America of 1990, you're sorely mistaken. It's not. Our country as a nation has fundamentally changed. And you think that George Floyd protests were the end? No, it's just the beginning. It's like COVID-19. Do you think the first 100 days is the end? No, it's just the first 100 days. We have like minimum 2 to 3 years to go, but most likely COVID-19 is forever. And we're probably not going to have a vaccine. We're probably not going to have a cure for years and years, maybe even decades, and lots of people are going to die. I'm predicting that at least 30 million Americans will die by year 2022 from COVID-19 alone. Now, with the social unrest and violence that's happening, with defund police, maybe I need to have a separate figure of people who may die from that. I mean, you could have millions of die from that as well. Just because it hasn't happened doesn't mean it won't happen. And that's why I'm saying all of you who have a family and children, you need to get an assault rifle, a lot of ammunition, shotguns, a lot of them, 1 per member of your household, because if 100 people come in there and you have 3 teenage daughters, they better be holding a shotgun or assault rifle to ward them off. You don't think this could happen? I mean, geez. You gotta know what happened in history. During pogroms, that's exactly what happened. I mean, the Jews did not have any weapon, and they were just like slaughtered and raped and slaughtered and raped. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, it may be a little bit depressing, but as you know, I created COVID-19 Update by Heerak Show to save your life, save the lives of your children, save your wife's life, save the lives of your parents. So I'm going to tell you what's possible so that you're not caught by surprise. Now, after today, if you do not get a shotgun, handguns, get permits for those guns, and semi-automatic rifle like M16, you only have yourself to blame when 100 people come through that door and rape 3 of your daughters in front of you and brutally gang rape them and then kill them while you're like watching, forced to watch by like a crazy mob. Now you only have yourself to blame because I told you to get protection and prepare. Obviously, we hope that this day won't come for your family, but you should not be surprised if it comes. This is a fallen world. And your guardians, the police officers, are about to be defunded. Yeah. And Don Beyer in Virginia State District, who's a Democratic congressman, he probably supports defunding the police, defunding Virginia State Police, defunding Arlington County Police Department, defunding Alexandria City Police Department, defunding Fairfax County Police Department, defunding Falls Church Police Department. You need to wake up. Democrats are your enemies. They want to destroy you and your family. That's why Heerak Christian Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress, is running to save you from the Democrats. Save you from the Democrats. You need to be saved from these weak, immoral people who are fighting to kill little babies through abortion. I mean, do you trust them, really? Baby killers? These Democrat politicians who want to legalize your children's right to kill their babies and push them to do that? I mean, geez, do you trust them? How can you trust any baby killer? That's why I don't trust Don Beyer. He's a baby killer. He wants to push abortion laws to kill babies. How can you trust that? How can you trust somebody who wants to kill babies? I mean, geez, logically, I mean, these are innocent, cute little babies who've done nothing wrong to you. And these Democrat politicians want to kill them through abortion. Yeah, don't trust them. Vote for Heerak Christian Kim for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District because he will save you from the Democrats. I hope you enjoyed this show and you've learned a lot and received information that will help you, protect you and your family. And this is a daily show, so check back tomorrow. I will have more information for you that you need to survive COVID-19 and all the craziness that's happening in 2020 as COVID-19 continues. There may be many, many more crazy things that happen, so make sure you watch this every day. Tell everybody you know to watch this every day because you need to survive COVID-19 and the craziness around it in 2020 America. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I hope you will be well and that your family will be well too. See you tomorrow. Bye.